Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I have Steve back with another video. We're going to be talking about Empower Clinics. Steve, first off, I want to congratulate you. Last time you were on, the stock was trading around 32 cents. Now we're up and it closed at, I believe, 92 today. Incredible gain so far. We did see highs of 250. And so we're going to be talking about that pullback and addressing everything that's going on right now. Thanks so much for coming back.
Hey, Landon, thank you. I really enjoy, these sessions with you. It's great to see your enthusiasm and really how much, you're growing in running these events, and our dialogue is getting, better and better. And, obviously we're getting to know each other, becoming better friends. But, other than I enjoy, talking to you, we got some very important subjects to discuss, and we've got, we've got so many great things going on with our company. Like, our fundamentals are just outstanding and better than ever. So this external noise and weird pressures in the capital markets, it's disappointing. It's sometimes just part of the journey, and we have to kind of work our way through it, and we are. I am by no means putting my head in the sand and avoiding the tough conversations or the tough scenarios. In fact, I'm diligently taking it all head on and meeting every challenge that comes up. So let's, why don't we start off and get through your list of questions and get into this.
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, let's get into the meat. Let's get right into it, and let's talk about the selling pressure that's been happening and what you think of the. I've seen some really big short interest, like 45 million shares. There's now some weird comments going around that you might have been shorting your own stock, like just some weird comments. So, can you just address that?
Yeah, I mean, it's almost shocking to me as well. I mean, I've been around the block for a while, but I tell you what, some of the shenanigans that are going on in some of these online boards, and frankly, I don't personally, spend time on those boards. I do have team members who are paying close attention to it. It's not really appropriate for me to get on there and even sort of make comments, but we are aware, we're watching, and we're trying to help all of our very supportive people with good responses to certain questions. Just addressing it, I think there's a great deal of misinformation that has been put out there. Even the level of the short position is just not accurate. In fact, I called the regulators today myself, the regulators being IROC, and had a conversation with them and said, like, what are you seeing? And they have access to daily reports that we don't have access to. We get a bi-weekly report on short positions, and it's by no means even remotely close to the concept of 40 million as a position on short, not at all. Now, our position is certainly higher than it's been before, but not to that degree. And the regulators confirmed that for me this morning, because they would be shocked if they saw a CSE listed company at our scale having a short position of that size. But I'm talking to the regulators, bringing it to their attention. They have tools at their disposal that we just all don't have. And I don't know whether we'll get an update from them or not. I'm not sure of kind of the policy or process, but it was worthy of a conversation anyhow. To address some of the comments, like there's one that came out today that was brought to my attention by a good shareholder of ours. And, this just goes to demonstrate how ridiculous some things are. So there's a comment that I personally actually was shorting the stock so that I could do that as a tool to buy stock at a low price from former director Dustin Klein, and then terminated him. And then I'm doing the same thing again, shorting so that I can try and buy Andrea Klein's shares at a discount. It's asinine. It's false. It's just not the truth whatsoever. I'm not going to short my own company when I'm the largest shareholder, and frankly, I'm in a blackout period anyhow. So that means I'm not supposed to be buying, I'm not supposed to be selling. I'm in a standstill position at the moment. I wish I could buy, but the rules are the rules, and I can't breach these rules. So overall, I'm disappointed with, some of the catalysts that maybe assisted, and almost like instigating or initiating the volatility, the swing the other way. We are still developing our market. If you said to us, 3 months ago, your stock's going to be around $1 and continued trading volume in excess of 20 million shares, we'd all jump for joy and say that would be great. We got extreme volatility on the way up in a very short period of time. It's always exciting for everybody to see that happen. There's a correction, and that's very common. We get corrections in the capital markets. I certainly don't control the capital markets. We pay attention to them. We understand them. We provide appropriate support, news, information to help support the market activity. But we also have to live with volatility sometimes in the way up, volatility sometimes in the way down. Our hope is that we push back strongly on any attempts to short, or this concept of naked shorting. And I think we're doing a decent job on that, and we'll continue to, push back on behalf of all of our shareholders.
Yeah, that's great to hear. Thanks, Steve. I'm sure lots and lots of people were really wanting to hear from you about that and address the shorting. So thanks for that. Moving on. So on March 10th, a lot of warrants and shares get unlocked and become tradable. That may cause some more selling pressure just because those are people who have been invested for 4 months and got in a really good price. Do you have plans to gauge with that selling pressure that's coming out on March 10th?
Yeah, so I'm completely aware of the date. I know exactly what the amounts are. I know who the holders are. It's part of, again, financing and capital markets. The one thing that's in our favor is, and we've worked on this very hard for many months now, and that is having large liquidity and sustained liquidity. People, my professional colleagues, people who follow markets are astonished at the type of liquidity that our stock has been able to generate, and the fact that it's sustained liquidity. I would be much more worried if we were very thinly traded and then you have a whole bunch of potential free trading shares that might come into the market. We have the ability to absorb because of our volume of trades. The other thing that we're doing is preparing for it by getting, building market support. So I have market makers who help support our market from time to time, and we have the ability to increase that support or level that support off. So in anticipation of what's coming up here in March, we're going to continue to have a very strong push on the market support side, that market making side, to do everything we can to, again, help bolster the market, soak up any selling that might come our way. We had to turn it on a little bit earlier because of the volatility over the last week, and we did that, and it was quite effective, particularly commencing last Friday. And we just have to keep weathering the storm and make sure any naysayers are out there that the truth is told, that the falsehoods are called out as for exactly what they are. And my commitment is to continue to stand up in front of our company, reassure everybody that our business fundamentals are the best they've ever been, and please nobody forget that.
Yeah, no, you're the same company that was $2.50 a week ago, and you're the same company. And the thing, you're a different company than when you were a 30-cent company, because you have all of these brand new things that are happening every single day.
Yeah, we have evolved and matured so much as an organization. So even at today's prices, maybe we're somewhere around 330 million market cap. It's fun to be 500 or 700 million dollar market cap, and I'm confident that we will we'll spend time there for sure, and I would anticipate even better than that in time. But our balance sheet is in such good shape, right? We continue to have nice success in the warrant conversions. We've got a lot of cash in the bank. We've got divisions that generate cash. So as I sit, in my capacity as CEO and chairman of the board, I couldn't be happier with where we are from a business and the fundamentals, because I know what's coming in our pipeline on our healthcare division side. I know what's happening on our science and research and development side. And both markets, or both, sort of fundamental sides of our company, are really strong.
Yeah.
And but it's only the beginning. This is the irony of all of this. Like, we're just getting started in this sort of next phase of our evolution.
Yeah.
So we just have to kind of get through these kind of odd times, and we'll be fine. We'll be fine over time. I'm not worried about it.
I know. I think kind of what's happening now is just like some shareholders are trading out for other ones, like weak hands are falling out. And then now we're going to have a new strong push that's going to be really big. And that's just my opinion, but that's what I think.
I think we're building our own kind of army out here, online army of supporters. So yeah. It's great to see. It's great to see the I get a lot of messages. I get a lot of show of support, a lot of people reminding me and reminding our team that there is a lot of strength out there for us. Mm-hmm. And it's great to see that. I appreciate it. And we've got a lot of sophisticated shareholders who really understand that we are doing this based on great business fundamentals and from a position of strength, not a position of weakness and about short-term success. This is about long-term success, getting to bigger markets, because those are the objectives that we have for the business.
Yeah. Do you actually want to touch on uplisting and how you think that's like looking and where you think it may be going?
Yeah, I think it's completely in our pathway now and in our sights. If I was talking to you about this 4 months ago, I would have said to you, yeah, it's possible in time. I just have no timeline. All of that's accelerated, and so we are taking steps to begin to prepare ourselves. So there's things that we have to do. We have to get ourselves what we call short form prospectus ready or shelf ready. We have to do a bunch of accounting, a bunch of legal work in preparation for that. You don't just snap your fingers and say, okay, uplist. So we are absolutely doing the prep work to be ready when the time is right. And we'll see how our market does over the next number of weeks, and not only our market but broader markets in general.
Yeah.
And to the extent that we've got the sort of investment banking support, and we're very fortunate. We've got a great set of investment bankers who really like our story, like the sector, love our liquidity. So I'm not worried about having the banking support to get it done when the time comes. So yeah, just stay tuned on that one. We've got our eyes on it.
Sounds good. All right, so moving on to probably the most asked question is, how close are you guys on any big contracts, and how is it going with the Dallas airport and talks with Dallas?
So we are engaged in a lot of different types of bid situations now. So private sector, public sector, quasi, private public sector, like an airport. We have RFPs submitted. I don't control the review process on the other side. And in some cases, they'll move pretty quickly, and others just might be slow. But we will, the moment we have an update on something big like that, then we'll let you and everybody know. I think the only message I can give you now, without sort of talking about guidance, is we are involved in these situations. We've had elevated discussions across airline industries, cruise line industries, tourism, travel, hospitality, event bubbles, airports, and U.S. government bids now. So we're fortunate to be kind of at the table in some of these big situations, and maybe we can just pull one or two of these things off and and then see what happens.
Yeah, that's all. That's all you need is one, and then it falls like dominoes, and then you get another and another and another. So you mentioned government. Are you trying to secure any funding from the stimulus that's going to be approved soon?
Are you talking about the U.S. stimulus package?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So we are. We actually are eligible, not for a lot of money. So I want to be careful here. So in the first, what they call the PPP in the U.S., through Chi Medical was eligible for some stimulus funding. The second program has come around, and again, Chi Medical is eligible for some subsidies and stimulus. And it comes to us in two forms. It comes to us in some payments based on our payroll size, and we have some SBA loans, and there's some loan payment forgiveness as part of the program as well. But overall, I mean, it's not massive dollars when you consider kind of our scale now, but you know, it's probably going to be worth maybe you know, $250,000, $300,000 to us overall. But it ultimately gets forgiven in the way that the package works. So, you know, we'll take the stimulus, make sure we do it by the rules because it has to be applied in a very specific manner. And that's why the amounts are not very high, because there's very specific rules for what you can apply for based on your payroll size.
Okay. Okay. I mean, that's good to hear. Any updates on the Chi Medical website going live?
Yeah, so really, yeah, it's great. In fact, we are ready to do a soft launch that so we're not, what we're gonna do is we're gonna do a soft launch so that, you know, investors can go see it and test drive. But I'm not going to turn on all the marketing dollars until we put a bit more traffic through it. But I can tell you that today, so these are the new actual kits. So my first shipment came into Canada on Friday.
Wow.
And I can tell you that I personally bought 2 kits off of kitest.com this afternoon, using different credit cards to test it. I did one on desktop and I did one on mobile, and absolutely great experience. I'm really, really pleased with what our development team has put together. You know, there's probably a real possibility we might see something here by the end of the week in terms of it'll be available for kind of our group, because we'll kind of talk about it just with the investor base.
Yep.
But we won't turn on the full marketing dollars until we put a bit more traffic through it. But we're here.
So I just have a question about the website. So I'm a Canadian. I'm from Alberta, Edmonton. Will I be able to go on on the Chi Medical website and order a Chi saliva test?
Yes. Yes.
That-
So I'm a Canadian in Vancouver.
Yeah.
And so when I did my order, I put my Vancouver address in there, and it you know, was processed through as a Canadian. And so I've got a tracking number for it already, and that will be fulfilled and shipped to my house. So, you know, I'll run the process all the way through as a user, but that's exactly it. So whether you're a U.S. person or you're a Canadian person with a Canadian address, it all gets you know, fulfilled off of kitest.com.
Yeah, because I mean, actually, just last week on Friday, Thursday, I went to get tested for COVID just because I had a really bad sore throat. I had a fever, and so I was being careful, and so I got 2 swabs, and they were not fun. Like, I can tell you, like, having it rubbed in my back of my throat for 5 seconds for the rapid one, and then 3 seconds for the other. I would have loved to have just ordered from Chi Medical Lab. And
yeah, I mean, it's really simple. You know, you can see what our branding, Chi Care is our brand.
Yeah.
And inside, the first thing you get is it's got instructions on there, and then inside is the actual kit. So there's a number of you know, pieces that are in there. I don't know if you can see. It's hard to see, but there are these different cards, and there's 5 of them. So there's 5 steps to the whole process: activation and all the steps that you have to do. You have the actual medical device itself, which is the specimen collection tube right here.
Okay.
And so that all gets opened up. And the basic method is, you shouldn't eat or drink anything for at least 30 minutes. So there's no contamination. And you spit a saliva sample into the specimen collection device. And then there's a lid that you close that has a sealed area that contains the buffer liquid. And when you close it, it pierces that area. That liquid falls down into the specimen, and that helps preserve the RNA sample while in transit when it goes back to the lab. The kit includes a already self-addressed prepaid courier envelope that you just put it into the bag, seal it. It's got Chi Medical address on there. Drop it off at the courier location or call for a pickup, and it's gone.
Will I have to pay duty on this coming to Canada?
That's a very good question. So the duty, well, I'll find out the answer to that one actually when they come in, because the larger shipments that we did, we shipped into Toronto, Ottawa, Vancouver as bulk shipments. As an individual consumer, then there's a possibility of the GST, but we would, as a Canadian, we would charge the GST on the purchase price. But the duties, I don't think there's additional duty when it gets shipped in.
Okay.
I'll clarify that. It's a great question. It's all moving so very fast. So I'll update the correct response on that one and get back to everybody.
Sure. And then on the actual testing tube, does it say how much spit you need to have in that? Because what if I just did a tiny bit, like? Yeah,
it does. There's a little indicator on there about how much saliva that you want to deposit into the device.
Okay.
And then inside this kit here, there's a complete set of instructions as well, specifically on how to do it. And then we provide additional instruction cards in the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And it literally says 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on there, on exactly what you should do to successfully collect the specimen and then return it to us for the laboratory processing.
That sounds good. Is there a help phone for Chi?
There is. There's a phone number. It's on the box already, the toll-free number.
Amazing.
So you'll be able to, in fact, I know what it is. As soon as you open it, that little insert that was there, you can see that there's a toll-free number that's on there. And that toll-free number is also on the website.
Okay.
And that line is active today.
Okay. Sounds good.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's move on to a couple more questions because I know you got to start going here.
Yeah.
So how is the expansion of Chi Medical Lab?
Oh, very good. So we've got the final amended lease agreement from the landlord for the what technically is 2 additional spaces. So what we did is we negotiated with the tenant who is immediately next door to us. They actually have 2 units that is really an open concept. And so, we decided that this was a better approach, because the challenge we would have if we decided to go and try to relocate is we could find larger space, but we've got, $1.5 million of specialized scientific, medical laboratory equipment. It's very difficult to move that equipment. You gotta be very careful, but the more important piece is once you relocate them, you have to recertify and revalidate every single piece of machinery in the new location. So you end up having potentially as much as 4 to 6 weeks of downtime. We simply cannot afford the lost opportunity cost of that downtime, right?
Yeah.
So it was more effective for us to approach the tenant next door and just negotiate with them in a very professional manner. And so we struck up a deal where we bought them out of their lease, and they're moving to a new location. That move out process has already started. We will be taking actual possession of it here, like in very, very short period of time. And we will blast a door in between the units for internal access. And it's a very simple kind of build out for us. It's basically, flooring, paint, bring in some more cubicles for call center and a few things like that. And that's going to be way more effective for us because we'll be able to operationally work better at the lab. We need to hire people, but we need the space to hire people. And it's simply because we have so much demand coming our way.
Yeah.
So we're making sure that Chi Medical are getting the resources for the expansions, but they're all very happy and excited about the opportunity to grow.
That's great to hear.
Yeah.
Rough timeline. When do you think it would be fully completed? You have cubicles, painting.
Oh, so I would say, our work, our processing work at the laboratory won't stop. It's not going to be disrupted in any form that way. And we don't have to move any of the scientific equipment.
Okay.
This is more to get the people out of the scientific area and into operational areas. So the medical equipment all stays in place, but it'll give us room to add additional equipment because we need to add more capacity for our scientists. Mm-hmm. To answer the question, I think we're probably looking at I'd say about a 4-week build out. Again, it's not very difficult. We're not building walls. We're not removing walls. Mm-hmm. It's pretty much more cosmetic than anything. Yep. Just fix some lighting, ceiling tiles, flooring, paint, make it a nice, working environment for our people.
Yeah, sounds good. So how is everything going with the Canadian clinic expansions?
Well, everything is going great as planned. We've already announced that the first 3 locations in Ontario that are underway. We've got, I think we might already have another 5, 6, or 7 locations identified. The process with our partners there is as follows. Together, we identify what the priority market might be. And the market would be, local communities where the locations are. And some are a good fit right now, and some might not be a good fit because of the size of the location, the configuration of the real estate and the pharmacy. But when we do identify them and that they work, then the process that we follow is we do a dedicated letter of intent for that specific location. So we've already together built a template for the letter of intent. And then what you do is based on the square footage, the address, the price of the rent, any sort of unique terms or conditions would go into that binding letter of intent. And then that gets us underway. So that triggers the creation of the final lease agreement. And in some cases, it's a sublease agreement with a partner. In other cases, is a direct lease agreement with a landlord. So as an example, in one of our first locations of the 3, the medical clinic sits on top of the pharmacy. In another one, it's actually adjacent to the pharmacy. So there's kind of, each one's a little bit unique, and that's why we do a unique letter of intent for each location. But that's just kind of what our flow is. So, we're pleased to be in that rhythm now. And what we will do is, as we sign those letters of intent, then we'll update the market. We'll let the market know is that, hey, look, we had another location has come online. Here's the city. Here's the address or whatever we put out, mm-hmm. and then we will just kind of have clinic openings and development at all times, right? Yeah. It will be from letter of intent to ribbon cutting and everything in between, right? So we'll be pleased to try to update everybody. But it's going to get pretty fast and furious here with our openings over the next couple of quarters for sure.
Yeah, I'm excited for that. And how do you find the physicians for these clinics? And how long does the process take to find these physicians?
It's a great question, actually. So I think it might be our actual biggest strength or asset with this whole format that we're doing and relationship is our ability to recruit physicians and then ultimately manage physicians. It's not easy. And, with the leadership of Dr. Jordan and Dr. Aviv, one of their key strengths is literally recruiting. So they work very closely with the medical colleges, They have a tremendous network, and they're able to tap into the colleges. They're able to tap into the network, and because they're physicians themselves, they speak the language, and they know what they're looking for. We've got a very prescribed model. We know exactly kind of the profile of medical doctors that we're looking for, and the count or the quantity is really real estate dependent. If you've got a smaller 1,500 square foot space versus a 4,000 square foot space, the number of treatment rooms will be dependent on that square footage and configuration. So each one's a little bit unique, but I think we reported from the previous announcement, I think that we reported we'd already had 12 physicians committed and signed up. I think that number now is over 16, and they're in recruitment mode every single day, because you can't launch a facility without having the medical doctors. And so as we work with our partners to figure out which city or region should be a priority or should be next, it also is dependent on, do we have access to a pool of medical doctors for that region? So we kind of time those things together. And so it's, again, you look at each location on a case-by-case basis, and then we make the decisions together on which ones become the next ones. And then we start the recruitment process, and we sign up the doctors and do the leases and start the build out and get yourself to ribbon cutting.
Yeah, nice stuff.
Yeah.
All right, well, Steve, thanks so much for addressing all the concerns. I mean, I wasn't concerned at all, but thanks so much for coming on. It was a pleasure talking with you, like always. I hope to hear some big news soon, and I'll be glad to have you back on.
Yeah, thank you, Landon, and I appreciate you making time for this. It's turning out to be a very good forum for us. I want everybody to be assured and reassured that we're here. I'm here. We are working on this stuff. We're not just going to roll over and give up on our mission. And as we started off the call, the show, our fundamentals are just so solid, and it's why it's disappointing to see kind of this negativity and volatility the wrong way in the market. But it's not going to be like that forever. Our fundamentals are strong. We're pushing back strong, and for all of our shareholders who are staying strong with us, you have my thanks and gratitude. And I'm looking forward to providing continued updates, strong news flow. We've got a lot of transactions that are out there in various stages. So one of our strengths has always been around execution and getting things done. So we will continue to execute. I promise you that.
Yeah, Steve, you've never let us down. So let's see you execute on some really big ones, and
you got it.
I'll be happy. Thanks so much,
Okay.
Steve.
Thank you, Landon. Appreciate it.
Take care.